Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to make a budget-friendly, but the most important thing of all, a very healthy chicken nuggets. Since I've done a video about the ultra-processed food, when we talked about the chicken nuggets you buy in a shop and what's actually in them, I had a lot of requests asking to share my recipe for a healthy chicken nuggets. So there we are. In today's video, this is exactly what we're going to be doing. So looking at the ingredients, guys, I'm just comparing this to, say, a bog standard £1.50 bag of few chicken nuggets that, in fact, probably haven't actually seen the chicken at all. But nonetheless, right, let's talk about money. So in front of me, I do have a pack of chicken. They are chicken thighs with the bones in, so we do have to work on that a little bit. But this is £2.99, okay, for 1 kilo, which is a really good value. Of course, you can use a chicken breast, but the whole idea, guys, we're trying to keep this recipe as cheap as possible. So we're going to be dealing with them in a minute. So I've got myself 1 onion, so that's roughly equivalent to, say, 10 pence if you do buy a whole kilo of onions from Lidl for 99p. I've got 1 potato, which is equivalent approximately 20 pence if you buy £1.09 for a kilo of potatoes. And I've got 2 little carrots. Again, if you buy a kilo of carrots for 79p from Lidl, the 2 carrots here roughly work out at 6 pence. Then, of course, we've got some salt, we've got some pepper. I've got homemade garlic powder and onion powder. This is totally optional. And I have some breadcrumbs as well, optional as well. So first things we're going to do, guys, is we're going to be opening those chickens and trying to debone them so we get the meat out. The reason I went for the skin in and the bone in, because it's cheaper. It is pretty much half the price if you're to buy them like that. So all we have to do, okay, is we just have to debone them. So here we go. Right. It is fairly straightforward, okay? There's a 1 big bone that goes through the middle. Okay, you can use a scissors or you can use a knife. I'm going to be using a knife. Okay, all you got to do, just fill the bone and just go around it. Okay, so make sure you take the bone out and take the cartilage out as well. Put it on the side. So we end up with a basically boneless chicken thigh. As I said, if you didn't want to do this, you don't have to, okay? You just buy yourself a breast, but as I said, they'll add on a little bit to the price. So now, right, let's get the skin off. Here we go. Skin comes off really easy. And we're literally left with nice skinless and boneless chicken thigh. Don't worry, we're not going to be throwing away the bones, nor the skins. That do make a really nice crackly snack. But this is for a different video. So let me just do that again. You can pretty much do this with your hands. Okay, if the chicken is fresh. Okay, bone and cartilage, look, comes off like that. Make sure nothing left. And see, it really doesn't take that much time at all. Okay. So whilst you're doing that, it's actually probably a good idea to boil your potatoes and your carrots, which I'm currently doing. So put them on a boil. You can cut them, chop them, peel them, whatever you need to do, because they're going to be mushed inside our chicken nuggets. Okay, so all of them are done, so let me just clean up and I'll see you in a second. So guys, everything's prepped and ready. So the chicken, right, you might be wondering, okay, how much chicken we now have after deboning this. So my bowl weighs approximately a kilo and we have 1701 grams. So it's basically 700 grams of the chicken thighs. It is a really good value for £2.99 for that. And the chicken thighs are have so much more flavor than chicken breast and a little bit more fat, so it's perfect to go in our chicken nuggets. Anyway, I've got my vegetables pre-done here, the potato and 2 carrots. They've been boiled, peeled, boiled, and then cooled, so they are ready to go. I've got onion peeled and halved. So now, okay, I'm going to be doing this in 2 stages. Okay, we're going to be blitzing, okay, our chicken with our vegetables. So I'm going to put probably half of that, and then I have to mix them in a separate bowl, just to make sure everything is blended properly. I'm going to put a couple of carrots and a couple of potatoes in there. And I'm going to put onion. Okay, so now, as I said, the spices and, not spices, but seasoning. So a little bit of salt. Okay, again, add it to your taste, but put 2 tiny ones here. I've got some pepper. Again, you can adjust this to your taste, like with anything. What? A little bit of pepper. Okay. Again, the garlic and onion is literally optional, but it does give it just a little bit more flavor. Here we go. I need a couple of little spoons in that. Of that. And onion powder. A bit of that as well. Okay, so now, lid on. This is on, and let's blitz it together. Okay, right, I think that's good. Pretty much we have a bit of paste, okay, like that. It looks like mixture for fish cakes, that sort of thing, so that's fine. So right, so I'm gonna get this out into the bowl and do the second batch, and I'll see you in a second. Voila. Let me get this out. You can see it holds together. If you keep the pieces too big, then our chicken nugget just won't hold, because we're not using egg for the inside, okay? Just the whole idea, we keep it on the budget, and to be fair, there's no need for this if you get the consistency totally right. So, right, that's good. Good there. Let's do the last batch. You can see a lot of mixture there. Right, that in there, and let's get that blending together. Okay, right, that's that. We're done with that. I'm happy with that. So again, second batch is done. So now just get this out in a bowl. It's a beautiful, beautiful color. Again, the carrots are optional, but they do give it that sweetness that we want. Okay, and it could be fun for children as well. Okay, right, so this is what we have, a nice mixture. So let me just clear this up and we'll start shaping them. So guys, right, we're now ready. So I've got a tray here with a bit of a parchment paper. So we're going to put our chicken nuggets on there. And at the end of the day, when you do this, the whole idea is why it becomes very much cost effective, because we're doing this as a big batch. So that means you're actually able to freeze them for later usage, which is actually ideal. So, right, because I've done this in the 2 batches, right, just give it a bit of a mix up. I'm just going to spray some oil on my glove. Okay, just helps us later as well. Just mix the batch together, okay? Because obviously all the seasoning is gone into the first batch. Okay, so our mixture is ready. So it's nice and sticky, okay? So you can flour them, and then you can breadcrumb them, you can dip them in batter, you can do whatever you want to do. My option is very straightforward. I've got some breadcrumbs here, right? We don't need anything then, because the mixture is really sticky already. So all depending, guys, on the size you want to do. Again, totally up to you. I think something like a little bite size, a tablespoon of, okay, I think that's good. So let's make a couple. Again, you can also use water on your hands if you don't want to use gloves, and oil. And literally just dip them in there. Nothing major. It coats them, okay, creates a nice little nugget. As I said, in this instance, you can shape them for children if you wanted to. But you have to then cut the shapes after you roll this out and cover them all like that, which just takes a bit of time. Okay, so again, look, straightforward. Little nuggets done. Right, so let me continue with the rest of it, and I'll see you when they're all done. So guys, there we are. I have filled the tray, and I still have quite a lot left. I will be dealing with this one later on off camera. But you can see here, I have done a slightly bigger ones for ourselves and a slightly small ones for the little one. So now you have 2 options really. You can just put this tray in the freezer, until they're frozen, and then literally pick them up and put them in a bag and put them back in the freezer. Or you can pre-cook them if you wanted to, put them in the air fryer for 5 minutes, get them partially cooked, let them cool down, and then put them in the freezer. It makes no odds, it's whatever you guys prefer. And of course, the time of cooking, when you take them out, you can cook them from frozen, depending on your air fryer and the settings. Of course, the little ones probably take about 10 to 15 minutes, and the big one will take approximately 20 minutes, again, depending on the air fryer. So just to demonstrate you guys what they come out like, let me put a couple of them in the air fryer now, and I show you what they look like and taste like. So our nuggets are now done. Come and have a look. So there we are. Look how beautiful they look. Absolutely perfect. So now let's have a look inside one. Here we go. Look, you can see a bit of carrot in there, but generally nice and healthy looking nugget. So now it's a taste test. Of course, dollop of tomato ketchup won't go amiss. They are, and I gotta say this myself, they are absolutely perfect, okay? Alright guys, you taste the chicken. You don't taste very much of the vegetables because there's a fairly small proportion of the vegetables in there. Of course, as the budget goes, you can bulk it up with more vegetables if you wanted to. The whole thing by using a thigh, it really does have that proper chicken flavor. And I gotta say, when you make your own chicken nuggets, you actually understand what the chicken nugget should taste like comparing to the ones that you buy in the supermarket. As you've seen, obviously that batch created quite a few. On average, we'll probably be talking about 11, maybe even 12 portions. Because I sized them up to a bigger size to what we prefer, if you suddenly to size them up to the supermarket options, you'll get probably 4 times the amount of what you get in the supermarket. And basically, on average, okay, the homemade chicken nuggets at the prices that I showed you, it will work out at 31p a portion. If you then dilute that with more vegetables, of course, it gets even cheaper. Or potentially, if you're doing that, buying yourself some chicken on a deal at a better price, then of course they'll bring the price down as well. As it comes for the children, if you think, well, your kids might think, oh, there's a bit of carrot in there or something else. Or you might think it's no longer called a chicken nugget because it does have some vegetables in it. But in the end of the day, you don't actually have to call it a chicken nugget. For kids, if they're questioning, say, well, it's not a chicken nugget, it's a chicken pebble or something else, you can make up a different name for them because kids generally have an expectation of something they're potentially used to. So if you're trying to win them off specifically of, say, chicken nuggets, and if you cook them homemade one, and if you say it's a chicken nugget, they'll expect that chicken nugget to taste the same as the ones you used to be buying. So if you're trying to introduce your kids to a healthier version, just call them something else. That will avoid the problem of kids nitpicking and saying it's actually not a chicken nugget. Nonetheless, guys, ranting over, this is by far healthier version. It's by far the cheaper version. You know exactly what's in those nuggets. You can knock this out in about 20 minutes, if not less. It's taking far longer, of course, when you have to do the video, but generally, batch them up, pre-fry them if you wanted to, put them in the freezer, and they're done for your busy nights. So anyway, guys, I do really hope that you have enjoyed this recipe. Please don't forget, thumbs up, subscribe if you're not a subscriber, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.